What you will witness here is the standard spray pattern of the weapon.
That young fool. Little does he know this silly little amateur tutorial will be viewed by hundreds of thousands of people.
I can do better.
Greetings, TheWarOwl greets you. Today we're going to go over how to practice recoil control in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. First, we have to get into a controlled environment. There are maps specifically designed for practicing recoil on the CSGO workshop, or you can do this inside of your own local server on any map you want. Why a local server? Because here I am a god. To easily do this, go to Options, Game Settings, and set Enable Developer Console to Yes. Then click Play, Offline with Bots, Go, No Bots, Go. For a more in-depth guide at doing this with scripts, check out my practice configuration and binds for local server video. I'm not good at naming things. I have a link in the description. Shooting in Counter-Strike is not like other games, where the shots go where you're aiming, and then the crosshair pops up randomly. No, that'd be too easy. As a quick recap, there are 3 things that determine where the shot is going to go relative to where you're aiming. Spread, which is the innate randomness of the weapon, you can't control this. Movement inaccuracy, which is randomness caused by moving around or jumping. And weapon recoil, which is the topic of this video. All we want to practice first is recoil. We can get rid of movement inaccuracy simply by not moving. Shocker. We can get rid of spread by using a simple console command. Open your console with the tilde key. It's the key next to 1 on your keyboard. You just pressed 2, didn't you? Look, I don't like repeating really obvious stuff, but there may be someone watching who did not know this. First, set the svcheats variable to 1. You do this by entering the command svcheats1.
TheWarOwl just told me how to cheat. I'm reporting him to Nintendo.
To disable spread, set weapon underscore accuracy underscore no spread to 1. Now when you fire the weapon, the only inaccuracy it has is from the weapon recoil. Because you're going to be firing the weapon a lot, you need to enable infinite ammo. The variable is sv underscore infinite underscore ammo. Shocker. A value of 0 is normal. A value of 1 prevents your ammo count from going down. We don't want this because we want to be able to count how many rounds we've fired, and we don't want to fire more rounds in a single spray than the weapon can hold. A value of 2 prevents the reserve ammo count from going down, which basically means we can reload as many times as we want. Set the sv underscore infinite underscore ammo variable to 2. Congratulations, you can now play around with weapon recoil. Every weapon in Counter-Strike has a unique personality, and recoil works completely differently for each weapon, so you have to practice every single weapon individually. As an example, let's check out the AK-47. Notice that no matter how many times we spray the weapon, all of the rounds go to the exact same place. This is called the spray pattern of the weapon. Here's why this happens. Every time you fire the weapon, you increase recoil, but recoil decays over time. When you fire the weapon, you'll notice the crosshair will jump up. The decay in recoil is very visible on the screen. It's how long it takes the crosshair to return to its original position. If you fire the weapon once the crosshair returns to the center, there will be no recoil. This is how players tap shoot or burst fire. They wait for the recoil to decay before they shoot again. When you spray or fire full auto, the weapon fires at static intervals, meaning the amount of time in between each shot is the same, so we'll see the exact same recoil every time. The goal of controlling recoil is to move the mouse so that all of the shots go to the exact same spot in what's called a grouping, because of spread. Even if you do this perfectly in a normal server, it's not going to be perfect. You can't do it perfectly in Counter-Strike. But you can get it close, and you do this by mirroring the spray pattern with your mouse. If the shot pops up, you need to pull down. If the shot goes to the right, you need to pull to the left. It is through repetition that you can train yourself to do this consistently. Instead of trying to learn the entire spray pattern all at once, take it slow and learn it step by step. Start with 3-round bursts. Examine the pattern made by the 3 shots. Then, try to control recoil to make all 3 shots go to the exact same spot. The further you stand away from the wall you're practicing against, the more precise you are going to have to be. So make sure you stand at a good medium distance, so you don't fool yourself into thinking you're better than you are, and you don't get frustrated with your suckiness. Because if you're new to this, you're gonna suck. In fact, you're gonna defy the laws of physics and both simultaneously suck and blow at the same time. An experienced player will say, "You're a noob. Spray control is easy." They are lying to make themselves feel better. It's difficult. So do 3 shots until you can do it consistently. It may take you 20 tries, may take you 50 tries, may take you 100 tries. Everybody learns at different speeds. After you're confident you've mastered the 3-round burst, add another shot. Do a 4-round burst and learn it. Keep adding more and more shots sequentially until you master them. This isn't gonna take an afternoon. You're gonna have to practice this daily until you get it right. And even after that, you're gonna have to keep practicing periodically to keep it fresh in your mind. Even the greatest player in the world has to drill the fundamentals. Over time, you will develop a feel for both the spray pattern and the firing rate of the weapon you're practicing. It's now a week of training later and you can get your AK-47 to fire in relatively the same spot. You hop in game, ready to show off your newly learned skills. The first enemy you encounter, you spray all 30 rounds perfectly in the exact same spot, 3 feet away from the enemy. Not very useful, is it? The truth is, you're not always gonna snap your aim perfectly to the enemy. If you could, then why learn spray control? Just click on their face. Back in your test server, you can practice this by picking a target to shoot, aim elsewhere, and then flick to the target while spraying and try to get as many rounds as you can to hit the target. The enemy is not just gonna stand there and let you shoot them like a target would, unless you're in a silver game. So you're gonna have to learn how to adjust your aim to a moving target as well. This is where I won't recommend practicing at a local server or against bots. Bots do not move as the human do. You can develop bad habits by practicing against bots all day. This is where deathmatch comes in. In a community deathmatch server or a Valve 64 tick, you can practice spray control against moving targets. Listen, you're gonna die a lot. It's called deathmatch. Your goal is not to get frags. It is to develop your muscle memory, so don't get frustrated with dying a lot. Be patient and persistent in your practice. Now, unless you're a silver player, just standing there and letting the enemy shoot you is not gonna work. You're gonna have to incorporate movement into your strategy. Movement inaccuracy does not affect weapon recoil. This is important. If you move while spraying and then you counter-strafe to stop, the shots will keep going as if you never moved in the first place. Because of this, it makes sense to always control recoil, whether you are moving or not. You can add very subtle movements while you are spraying to make yourself tough to hit, while also not interrupting your spray. This is something you can practice in our test server. Pick a target, start spraying, and then start adding subtle movements. Notice how it's surprisingly easy to continue controlling recoil. If you do a counter strafe or you come to a stop, the rounds are going to keep going along the normal spray pattern. You can add more complicated movements as you continue practicing, such as controlling for the jarring change in perspective from ducking. Now, unless you're an uber noob, you're not just going to hold down the left mouse button at all times and run around the map. You need to also develop a sense of recoil decay. The further along in your spray, the longer it is going to take for your recoil to decay up to a max. Keeping track of where you are in this decay is very important. It's incredibly difficult to keep track of where the next shot is going to go during recoil decay. It's very easy to tell where the shot is going to go while spraying if you practice it and after the recoil has reset. But this requires you to develop an idea of how long it takes to reset from different points in the spray. First, I'd recommend learning how to tap shoot. It's probably the easiest thing to do in the game. This is simply firing a single shot after recoil has decayed. Every weapon has a different speed at which it can reliably tap shoot. Quick tip! If you want to tap shoot faster, the shots will go slightly above the crosshair, so just slightly pull down when you're clicking really fast. Quick tip over! Next, you can learn how to burst fire, which is spraying for only a few shots. Pick a number of shots to burst fire, this depends on the weapon. With the AK-47, let's do a 4-shot burst. Fire 4 shots and try to control them. Then fire another 4 shots as soon as the recoil has decayed. You should add movement into this. Remember that movement inaccuracy does not affect weapon recoil. So during the time the weapon recoil is decaying, you can move to avoid getting shot, and then burst again when you counter-strafe. By golly, we're starting to look like an actual Counter-Strike player. Bonus tip! If you have to shoot in the middle of a DK because an enemy has peeked you, just start a few bullets into the recoil. With the AK-47 and the M4, this means just aiming a little bit down from where you normally would. Bonus tip over! If two guys attack you at the same time, you're gonna have to do what's called a spray transfer. Spray transfer is flicking in the middle of your spray control. This is also something you can practice in your test server. Just pick two targets. Real easy, huh? Shoot at the first and then transfer to the second in the middle of the spray. Your mind will naturally use the center of the screen as a reference point, so don't worry that your crosshair is bouncing all over the place. There's no trick to this. Your brain will just figure it out. But one thing I see a lot of people do, which is wrong, is focus on your crosshair. As always, the very best way to get better at the game is to actually play the game. So applying your skills in a 5v5 match is very important. However, developing muscle memory is paramount to success. Shooting in Counter-Strike is an art. There are so many variables to keep track of that players don't consciously consider them. Instead, they develop a feel for it over hundreds of hours of practice. Thanks for watching. I'm TheWarOwl, and I still have no closer. It's every week, bro. Kill me.